What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Again, your host, Dillon back with another talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, previewing the 2024 season. Preseason is done, and we're going to look forward here now for the Steelers with a matchup against Atlanta looming. As you can see in the video for the YouTube viewers, we got the new jersey for the upcoming season. Number 2 in the retro, the black jerseys here. Number 2 for Justin Fields. Obviously, throughout the summer here, y'all have heard my take on some of that quarterback stuff, and we will talk about it all here today. But let's jump right into it. Previewing the season here for the Steelers, coming off of the up and down roller coaster that was last season with multiple obituary episodes and fire Matt Canada a chance. It's a breath of fresh air this season. We will see what the new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith can bring to the table. We may be complaining about too many tight ends at some point during the year, but nonetheless, we'll get to that point when we get there. But coming into the year, really a couple of different storylines. Obviously, the new quarterback situation, new offensive coordinator, and then the other pieces that are here for this team. So, last year during the preseason, we overreacted. And we learned lessons. We learned lessons that preseasons mean absolutely nothing, no matter how much the media tries to tell you otherwise. All the past month, it was things of after preseason game number 1, Fields isn't the answer, Fields sucks. After preseason game number 2, Fields should be starting, Russell Wilson sucks. And then after game 3, both of them do well. Now the Steelers have a question on their hands. So going into the season, I can tell you what will happen. I think Russell Wilson's going to be this team's starter, and he played one series on yesterday, recording this, today on Sunday. Played one series against the Lions. They scored a touchdown. He comes out. He's starting. But by week 8, I don't think he will be. And even in those first handful of weeks, Justin Fields is going to play. They will have special packages for him. Now, it'll remain to be seen how effective it is, because it's going to be a key. The minute he comes into the game, they know, okay, read option, and he's probably going to keep it because he's going to want to show off his legs. So it'll be up to Arthur Smith to really do something about that. But I think overarching in general, Justin Fields showed the Pittsburgh Steelers that he can be a starting quarterback. He can, and again, I think the difference between Fields and Wilson right now is super minute and super small. I think both of them are going to be able to operate the offense the way that it's going to try to be operated, and they would both be fine. Obviously, I got the Fields jersey. I think his athleticism, his potential, it's all still there. He's still 25. He's a great prospect, and I think he could still be the Steelers starting quarterback for 10 plus years, but remains to be seen. He'll have some time. Russell Wilson's going to start, with this team in the beginning, just like Trubisky started, and Kenny Pickett was on the team. He was the backup. So, will remain to be seen how the first handful of weeks are going to go for the Steelers. But they need to come out hitting on all cylinders. They need to be operating, because that back half of the schedule is going to be very tough. And so, with all that being said, I think Wilson will be the starter at the beginning of the year. And again, the offense is going to operate through the running game. It's going to be deep balls to George Pickens, but that running game is going to be where it's at. Zach Frazier in that line, at least on the running side at the start of the Lions game, did quite well. Obviously, the tackle situation is going to be very interesting to see how that plays itself out. You got Dan Moore Jr. on the left-hand side on borrowed time. Broderick Jones starting on the right side as of the moment. But the minute Fautanu is healthy, you plug him in on the right side, you flip Broderick Jones over to the left. You got Zach Frazier in the middle, some good guards. I think this offensive line, albeit young, definitely on paper, definitely has the potential to grow into something very good, but they're not there yet, and they're going to need that time, and there's going to be a transition until all of those guys are in place, at least your middle guy and then your tackles, to really see. And they got to play together. They just got to get time. 3-4 years from now, they could have a top 5 offensive line in the league, but and that's what happens when you invest high draft capital. That's what you hope anyway. So we'll see how that turns out. But the running game is going to propel this offense, and that's where it's really going to be. And I think they're going to be okay. They're going to be an upgrade from last year. They're going to be an upgrade from last year, and it would be regardless of who's starting at quarterback. Russell Wilson, he's got the experience, and Mike Tomlin was always going to give him the start here in Week 1. Even if Kenny Pickett didn't request the trade and they were going to frame it at this open thing, Russell Wilson was going to start Week 1. That's just how Mike Tomlin operates. He gives guys that benefit for having leadership qualities and off-the-field qualities, sometimes to a fault. At the end of the day, I don't care what you do off the field as long as you're winning on the field. I think Fields gives them the better opportunity to do that. But nonetheless, if they're both going to compete, and we'll see. Mike Tomlin hasn't named a starter yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Wilson. If it's Fields, I'm super happy. I'll be excited. But I think Fields is going to play throughout the season regardless, and then I think he has a really good opportunity to be signed long term, and maybe the Steelers flip the script and they keep him in the long term here, give him a multi-year deal, maybe on the cheaper side of things too. Because really, what will Fields' value be after this season if he doesn't play all that much? Probably won't be too hard to keep him around. Let's flip to the other side of the ball, though. On the defensive side of things, the preseason performance isn't really what's going to push me in this direction, but I think this is a top 5 defense going into this season. Their front 7 is elite. Really their defensive line is elite. You obviously got the best pass rush duo in the NFL. Comment down below if you disagree, but you're wrong. The best number 1, Alex Highsmith, can be the number 1 on other teams, and we're lucky to have him as the number 2. And Nick Herbig could be a number 2 on other teams, and we're lucky to have him as our number 3. So the offensive line group, best in the league. D-line, also very, very positive. Keanu Benton, he's going to be a superstar. Cam Hayward, we'll see how Father Time treats him. He's going to eventually get worse, but even until that starts to happen, he's a great player to have. Ogunjobi on there is your third D lineman, a great starter to have too. And then behind them, Patrick Queen, really good linebacker. Peyton Wilson, the rookie, was flying around the field in the preseason. He's going to be a stud, I think, for the Steelers. He's going to be a great user in Madden, because that dude's going to have like 90-something speed. I haven't looked, but I'm sure it's up there. He's a fast guy. But even then, you got Elendon Roberts, Alonde Roberts, whatever. He's a good run stopper. But Patrick Queen as your do-it-all middle linebacker. And then on the back end, Joey Porter Jr. locked down going into year number 2. Minkah Fitzpatrick, best safety in the league. You got question marks. Cornerback 2 is kind of weak. You got Dante Jackson, who's had up and downs in his career. But a guy that the Steelers drafted at the same time as Joey Porter, Corey Trice, coming off of injury, built in the same lab that Porter is. Super long arms, 6 foot something, fast guy. He played really well in the run defense here in the last preseason game. Remains to be seen how his cover skills are, but for that guy to be your, on some of your backup cornerback options, I think that's exciting. Obviously, a lot to prove. The slot cornerback issue, the starting slot corner might not even be on this team right now. No one emerged throughout the preseason, so we'll see how that goes. That's definitely one of the issues on the defense. And then I think strong safety, Deshaun Elliott. He's okay. You're not going to be able to get the best position, the best player at every single position on defense. So he's one of those spots where he's fine, but surrounded with all the other talent, I think that's a great thing. So all things considered, I'm really excited for this upcoming season. We're going to remain to be seen. Steelers really aren't favored in a lot of these games starting. I think they're 3-point underdogs in Week 1 against the Falcons. I think they have a really good shot at winning that game, of course. The Falcons, I think, are getting a lot of hype right now with the Kirk Cousins stuff, and new head coach, though, all this stuff with Steelers defense and how they've played against Atlanta in the past. I think there's a very good chance that the Steelers win that game. It's going to be coming down to the defense, though, if they can hang them around, because I think there will be some growing pains in this offense, depending on who's starting at quarterback. But it's going to be the running game. The running game is going to be key for this team. The running game and the defense. Pound the rock and don't let them score a lot of points, and then you're going to have some great things. So I think all things considered, I don't want to ramble on too much, keep this video in the 10 to 15 minute range, but overall, I'm excited. This team's going in some good places. We're not going to, go crazy and buy into preseason hype because preseason means nothing. It literally means nothing, So people aren't playing, the schemes aren't happening. It doesn't matter. So whatever the NFL media tells you, just ignore it. Go do your own research, because they're probably wrong. And so we're just going to leave it at that. Do your own research and you'll be fine. With that being said, shout out if you like the jersey, like $15 off a DH gate. You can't complain about that. So we'll get going. We'll have some pick'ems coming out here for the team. We'll definitely have some podcast episodes here coming soon as we get ever closer to week 1 of the NFL season. Maybe some fantasy talk, here and there. We'll see. But content will be rolling out on Party Chat Sports. So drop a like on the video. Subscribe for more Party Chat Sports content. And week 1's almost upon us. Let's go. Here we go. Steelers country. Let's ride.